what I've
and
always
like
done.
a shorter, choppier stride might be less economical, and that might be because of body mechanics, muscle mechanics, or just just how you kind of grew up, and like what your muscles are kind of used to at that point. Like either faster or more powerful, like slower movements. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. Any questions?
Yeah, do you ever switch, like, so the long powerful strides, you're probably activating different muscles on the short stride. Do you switch it up?
You can, yeah. That was another thing I was
like
gonna say.
hiking, like do you take big strides, little strides, and try to, if you're cramping up somewhere, do you try to focus on maybe a different stride just to get some different muscles going?
Yeah, and that can often help, especially like with cramping and stuff, is trying to use different techniques and different muscles and stuff. But also, like, if you're short, choppy stride up a hill and you've been doing it for several minutes, like a couple of steps of like a longer stride is just going to stretch things out a little bit and help reactivate some of those other muscles that have been kind of shutting off in the process. So like it can help to kind of change things up a little bit, and especially between different grades too. Like a shorter, more shallow grade like that, you might go a little bit longer and really kind of stride out a little bit and get a little bit more powerful stride, whereas you get back on a steep section, you're like back into that quick, short, choppy mode, just to kind of get up that hill as economical as possible. And so that kind of changes things.
How do you
know my lactate threshold? And usually about 5 beats a minute under my lactate threshold. I just know that that's what works for me, and that's where I need to race early in a race in order to feel good later on. And so I try to keep it there, and I'm watching it. And so since I'm watching it, like, it's really easy early in a race to just feel good and power up a hill and then have your heart rate spike through the roof. And it's like, at that point, I would know, like, I got to slow down, and if I need to slow down so much that I'm walking, then I'm walking. In a longer race, you're obviously going to hike more just to get through it. Same sort of principle, or you just want your heart rate a little bit lower.
I've never used a heart rate monitor.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one thing that I find like really important, is to use a heart rate monitor and to know where your lactate threshold is and to train by that, so you can learn more. If you can do it by feel, and you get to where you just have enough experience to be able to do that throughout a race and pace yourself without your heart rate monitor, cool. I mean, that's great. I find for me, like, a heart rate monitor helps.
Well, using poles, or using your arms with no poles, or putting your hands on your legs. For me, this is what I do mostly. It's never touching your knees, because your knees don't need more pressure and funny angles than you're already giving them. So it's always either on your quads or higher up on your hip flexors, and usually you're higher up when it's less steep and then lower down when it's really steep. The main thing to never do is turn into a little shell, because what's happened to my lungs? They've got really squished. So we want to keep our shoulders back, our chin up, so that we're really open to air coming in and our lungs being really open. And by doing that, we're bringing our weight forward. So now my weight is a forward motion. If I'm here, my weight is in my back, and I'm like sending it out the back like I've got brakes on. So if I want to be forward, and I want to be moving forward. So we're just going to practice that coming up here. We're going to go hands on quads first, and then hands off quads. See which one suits you better. Some research done shows that neither one are more efficient. It's what you're efficient at. It's what you're efficient at. What you're efficient at, and it might be a combination of both. For the poles and through using arms, for me, I'm not a skier and I'm not very strong in my upper body. So for me, using my arms with poles, I'm using up a lot more energy. Whereas if you're maybe a cross-country skier and you're used to using poles, then you're probably more efficient using your arms. So just think about what works for you, and it's through trial and error. Okay, so first of all, let's just go back up to where we did then. Let's focus on hands on our, I'm just going to give you a demo up here, so come up a little closer if you can't see. Just come here, I'm just going to go up there. So you're just going to focus on hands on your legs, either down lower or up higher, and think of power hiking. It's a little bit hard because you're not all that tired right now that you don't need to power hike, but we are. And focus on putting your weight forward, shoulders back, hands on quads. So it's going to look rockier, it was all over the place, and I'm there running, like not even running. And this girl just power hikes past me, and I was like, that is just so rude. And I spoke to her afterwards, and she was like, do you not power hike? And I'm like, no, we're runners. And she's like, yeah, learn how to power hike. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't get it. I thought we were running. And she's like, yeah, but we're in the mountains. You've got to hike this stuff. You can't run that. You're slow. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I started power hiking in training. I was like, okay, today I'm going to power hike up there really fast. And if you do it well, you can get a really good workout. You know, Killian power hikes. He does more the sort of bounding up the hill with his hands on his quads. He doesn't use poles as much. But you see like Ika, Pereira, Louis Alberto, they are on those poles hiking all over the place. You know, those guys hike so fast, it's impressive, and they train specifically for that. So don't ever think, oh, I'm hiking, oh man, I'm so slow, everyone's going to catch me, because they're not. You can walk a really long way and never be